we didn't come this far to come this far, and everybody says, so how do we look ahead, and how do we, as an industry, continue, the Novo, Regeneron, Thrival? Well, how do we keep pushing innovation in clinical research, and how are you pushing internally and at your respective companies to make sure that innovation is always at the top of the conversation and patient centricity is always at the top of the conversation?
I would just say, again, this is going to sound oversimplified, but I think simple is actually really good. It's a good thing. Just continuing to listen to the patient's voice and really capturing that feedback, and then actually making some actionable changes based on that feedback. It's really as simple as that. Listen to people, do better. That's all I got.
And I think so have a little bit of a experimental mindset as well. So I think all of us have to learn in this phase that we're going through. So for example, in Novo, we have tried to set up a fully decentralized trial. So trying all the different elements in one trial to see what is truly working, get some feedback from patients, and try to implement those elements that are working well and adapt accordingly into the regular clinical trials or in the different programs. So really trying to be experimental, I would say. That's one thing, and being willing to invest in that, because that is only for internal learning purposes, and to really push and engage with regulatory bodies in terms of, we can generate the same solid, robust data with a full decentralized clinical trial compared to the regular clinical trial. And then I would say then we need to stand together as an industry as well. So work through the different consortiums of sponsors across the industry to discuss how we best implement this. How do we less the burden from a patient perspective? How do we engage with regulatory bodies to really prove the benefits, not only from a patient perspective, but also from a safety compliance perspective as well?
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add to that. I think that was very well said by Rasmus and Maria. I think internally, you have to have an open mind and constantly push and evolve and look to do better. And I think there needs to be more discussions as an industry. And this sort of call, Mike, that you and your team have put on are fantastic. And I think we need more of this, to have these discussions and to build upon this and to gain more momentum, because it's not an easy transition to go and leave traditional endpoints and tools into more of a digital age. And it's been a slow adoption, but I think these sorts of things will just help us overall learn and grow more efficiently into this, new era.
And just something to add in there, Mike, because what we're also seeing is that sometimes we want to push for the digital elements, but it ends up maybe being even a bigger burden for the patients, because for example, with CGM, sometimes the data needs to be blinded. Patient might have a CGM that they're wearing already. So then we're actually asking patients to wear 2 CGMs in clinical trials. To me, that's not really true patient-centric approach, but it's difficult when we need to generate, high quality data as well to find the right balance here. But sometimes we also, and I think we need to be open and transparent and discuss those elements. How can we even push that further? Because sometimes it becomes an additional burden as well for the patients, especially if they have to wear 2 different variables, because we want one for the clinical trial and one for their daily life.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And I really appreciate everybody's openness talking about these topics. There's a ton of things that need to be solved for, a ton of stuff that can still happen and improve in clinical trials, especially from the site and patient perspective.